Awesome. Hey, everyone. So I definitely have a problem I want to bring to this call. and I feel like it's pretty cool because it's
What is
less to do with syntax or like how the graphics library, works, and more about like how do you solve and debug an issue.
Mhm.
So, okay, should we just jump in?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, Eric, I'm going to show you something real quick just for the sake of, actually, you know what? I'm going to do two things. I'm going to first share my screen. And then I'm going to ask Eric how he, you just shared your app before, right? Okay. So Eric, just in case you haven't seen this, what I'm trying to build is something like Gorse, where I have these Git repositories with every day of the manuscript. And I just want to show like what the changes have been like. So this is something I've been wanting to do for 10 plus years. And after you and I adjourned, Tudor and I spent about 90 minutes on this. So I'll show how far I got and where I got stuck. Your daughter is so cute, Eric. Okay, I'm going to share Glamorous Toolkit.
for the Because I have a phone on the shop.
I'm just going to share my screen.
This video will be so much popular than the
Yes.
other one.
Can you set up the video?
Yeah. Okay. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
No worries.
All good. Okay. Okay, so no, I feel pretty good. I got the examples running, although there's something that I wish I could do that I can't, and hopefully I'll recover that later. So where do I start? So just to revisit goals. Man, Tudor, I was like super stoked. I got based on what you showed me, I was like, I'm gonna generate the paragraphs next, the text nodes. I'm gonna make the size of the paragraphs based on the node based on the size of the paragraph, and then I'm gonna generate a sequence of these, and then I got stuck. Okay, so I did get text nodes rendering. Hang on. So
I saw you get them, the ones with the red thing, because it looks like that.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just kind of reconstruct my thoughts. Okay, so I'm reading this thing. I'm joining the AST.
So you just took your file, you parsed it now.
Yeah, I'm using the same version.
So I'm just saying it for people that maybe haven't seen the other ones. So you're going through the header visitor, which will create these nodes and connections between the different header levels and in the from your AST, and then you want to visualize those.
Right. In fact, you know what?
Ooh, I see there, like you're connecting, you're saying that the connections remove something. I don't know why.
Yeah, because of an error I have. Hang on. Let's see here. What is make a new node? Is it command? Yeah. And I even made this run Mondian thing, which
yeah, you can see there. Mondrian.
Wait,
I think it's R or.
Thank you.
Or no, he doesn't understand that one. Why don't you browse the GK header visitor? Is this an old image or a new image?
It's the old one because I was afraid of it's Mondrian.
It seems like there's only Mondrian,
yeah, thank you.
So I love it how second nature it was to just browse that class. Great.
Yeah. I also learned kind of cool seeing the performance, like what causes the VM to
Mhm.
grind away.
It's not the VM, right? So that's the there's a. It depends on the size of the graph that you're gonna have there.
Ah, yes. Okay, so you can actually see. This is where I felt like I hit the limits of my ability to debug. And I
Mhm.
think I actually isolated down to which connection
Yeah,
or
but
node it was.
let's we should look into that. Mm,
Okay,
let's take a look
can I
at
just
that
give you a
Mondrian
quick
class.
tour? I'm sorry. So this is so I was exceedingly happy with that I could generate this. And then
It's
so I
interesting that
had,
you have that one. I'm not sure why you have that
yes,
one.
because I think there's two issues. If the text node, because if the paragraphs are the same,
Mhm.
only one of them gets the connection. So I actually generated this test case to see if it was actually a
Oh yeah, that's
duplicate
nice.
node name, and I don't know how to fix that. And the other issue I'm having is for the large full test case, I'm getting an exception or something. So anyway, Eric, I'm getting there. So two problems I'm having. All right, so I guess I would just love to learn how to debug this thing.
Okay, may I suggest also something else? Like
Yes.
here you're having now a multiple stories into one large thing, which doesn't really have a good structure.
Yeah.
And it's a little harder to maybe. So I would actually have split this larger node into multiple of these playgrounds and then organize those.
Perfect.
Rather than just having everything in one place. So where would you like to start from? Do we want to start from that bug that you have on the right-hand side there? Or
yeah, I think yes.
So the interesting thing here is, right, like we should go in and investigate. So you're saying, I think it's because of that 1, 2, 3, those are the same paragraphs, right?
Yes. Yes.
So let's see, how do we quickly, so first of all, there are two things that we observe in this, from this one, right? You just have a visualization.
Yep.
And from the visualization, you're inferring, I think I have a bug. Where do you have your bug? In your algorithm. So it's interesting, like how you're using a custom view to actually debug to see whether the algorithm works or not.
Yes.
So, and this is interesting because you'll see this feedback loop actually appearing many, many times. Like this is something that you wouldn't see otherwise with normal debuggers. But then we still have to validate, is it really true that, because if this would be true, I would expect that that circle that is alone there would be one of those intro paragraph 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yes. And do I?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Right.
And so, right, notice how quickly you went. I have this picture generated the hypothesis, and then I go there and I validate the hypothesis because the picture is not the end, it's just in the middle of the conversation.
Yes. And that was pretty wild. Yeah.
Right. So now that I know that I know what's wrong, now I can go and write an assertion. I can go and write an example that that would expose exactly this type of problem. Right. So this could be it. This is how it would work. So how
am I doing?
Good.
Okay, I think this is a nice minimal test case. Okay, this would duplicate the test case.
Mm-hmm. I think you're missing a little dot, right? Because notice this one is now red. Why would this be red? Yeah. So
I need a V.
No. Yeah, there's a wrench there, but okay.
Okay. GK header visitor new. still red.
No, I think that. No, I think that's my annotation.
Oh, nice.
It changed the color. It's no longer blue.
Nice. Okay. Wait, what's the self? Okay, that's okay. All right, so I guess. Oh, is there a
Structure
way?
is not necessary.
Yeah, it's the trouble is I got
If you-
lost about which ones, which assertion was failing.
So in this case, what
Yeah.
this one tells you, it's like with this idea with introducing comments because the method is too long.
Yeah.
You probably have too many assertions. Like your example wants to do
Oh,
too many things.
okay.
And
Actually,
because of this, right? So you can also think of it like this, and because it's easy to actually split an example into two.
got it.
Because I can just concatenate, I can just call the previous example and just write another assertion. I don't have to have a whole setup. You're
Ah,
not calling here. All your examples are just, they repeat the same thing over and over again, but they don't have to. They actually can call each other because they're just normal functions. They're normal methods. So you can just send that message and that's it. You
Got
can
it.
reuse.
Cool.
can
Let me
have,
file that away. Yeah, this is my attempt to just disambiguate the assertions. So okay, nice.
Right.
Is there a way to easily comment out lines?
No.
Okay.
You can select everything and then press double quote if that's what you're looking for. But it's not per line. It's because we only have in Smalltalk you only have an interval quote.
Right.
So
Okay,
a comment.
so V equals GK visitor examples new, and then I can do handle duplicate name.
Why would you do this?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just trying to run it.
I see. Well, so this example, this is a method, right? So just go and try to remove the E, for example, from example. Let's see what happens. Do you notice something changing?
Oh,
Just press
yeah.
E now.
Yeah, I got it. I'm supposed to do this.
Yes.
Just so I see what, there we go. Okay, got it. Right. It is indeed that.
Right. So and
Assertion
now,
failure. Okay.
awesome.
Yeah.
So I love it. You see, I love how you have, like you figure out, oh, I was looking at meta. I'd like to remember like at one of the first sessions, it was so difficult to distinguish between that a view like this is about the instance and a view like this is about the class of that instance. It's lovely to see that it's now no longer confusing or not that confusing.
In fact, Eric, my challenge is like, I actually have some complaints and requests too now. I was like, wow, you have certainly high expectations. Anyway, yeah. So where do I go from here, right? So
okay, so you have an exception there.
Yeah.
Now we should go and figure out another thing about this is that this is going to be, so I think I have an idea of what the problem is, but let's not jump too much.
Cool.
So you have somewhere, where would this possibly could come from? So one thing we could do here is that, well, in fact, actually, instead of just doing this assert, right, we could just not do an assert and just return V here. Because that's the thing that we want to look at. We want to look at V. Or just say, how many would you think there are now? How many connections do you think there are now? One, right? So let's actually double check that one.
Okay. By the way, just for my own sanity.
Comment that one, yes.
I'm just trying to find out the easiest way to comment out lines.
Yes, well, you're using an older version of GTs. I mean, it's literally from the previous year, right? It's so old that you see, right? Like literally, like all of these sessions, all the sessions we had with you, it just
awesome. This is so good.
All the bugs that we saw pushed all the bugs that we have seen in these sessions now just became top of stack. And we
Perfect.
actually solved them.
I love it.
remember lots of them during this one. So
In fact, you know what? I was so scared of losing my context. Like one of the things I'd like
Yeah.
to do as we wrap this part up is I want to quit. I want to save everything, and fearlessly upgrade and know that I won't lose anything. But I wasn't there yet.
perfect. Good.
Okay. So now I can do this.
Yeah,
I would like to know if there's a way, if your D toolkit crashes or beach balls, how can you recover the code?
Yeah, we can do that. No, wait. So now here we're gonna look at the raw.
Sorry, just 1 second. 14. What? Okay, that is not what I expected. Raw connections.
Yeah, let's see. What do you have there?
Yeah, that's not what I expected. What?
Is it? I think you're looking at some
Wrong one.
Maybe you will run something else.
Could be. Oh, I must have. Yeah. Raw.
No. So I think that this is one of those bugs that we actually fixed
Okay.
because we saw you look at
Okay.
it. So
All right. Good.
to get out of it in this version, you would probably need to refresh this example. Like so let's maximize this one or open it again, or just
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna close this.
or maximize it, and you can do that.
Wait. What?
Maximize it and pick another class and then come back to it. It's a refresh issue because you have just started and somehow it thinks. I think that's what the problem is. So let's try and no, actually this isn't the problem. I'm sorry.
No.
I was wrong.
Well, okay.
So
This is
let's
very
read-
surprising to me. Because where the hell?
Let's go and read this one. I think.
Yeah. Parse this text, of which there are only 3 nodes.
And then what do you do with this?
I create a header visitor, and
Mhm.
I pass it that AST.
Which AST?
This AST. Maybe
Are
I'm
you
just
sure.
I I think
So what's this triangle then doing there? Let's open it.
oh, there's something in lexical scope that is wait, that's interesting. So this is actually a message. Okay.
Would you
That's
like
right.
it to be a message sent to what?
It says self to this example.
And what did you want to do instead?
I wanted to pass in this guy. So
And can we start from scratch with this? Just read this, just this line, just read it out loud.
yeah, take the object called from visitor new, GK header visitor new, with the message of accept. Oh. I do not want self. Yes. That's better.
Check this out.
Nice. Okay.
But
That's
the thing is that now it says you have how many connections?
3.
Hmm.
So
So let's see. Let's take a look at those.
Actually, so V.
Because I see something else that is quite interesting, actually.
Does this work? V is a GK header visitor new, and isn't there a Mondrian? V Mondrian.
Yeah, you can just turn to meta, right?
I'm sorry.
There's no V here.
Oh,
right?
I'm sorry. My arrow keys are okay. I'm not gonna. I just would still want to point this out. There we go.
So how many connections do you see?
I see 2. 1, 2. But I don't know what this is.
You actually see 3 connections there.
I do.
Mhm.
Where from here to here.
Yeah.
and from here to here. I'm sorry, I see two. And then
Right,
you
right.
see there's
But
actually
Do you
two.
see? Do you see how this line over here? What color does it have?
Oh, it's a light gray. And this is a darker
And
gray.
the other one?
A darker gray. I'm
So
assuming. I can't see the difference.
yeah, there is a darker gray. Right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but yeah. And the thing here is that this light gray actually there's an alpha to it, probably
Yeah,
0.5 or something like this. The reason why this one is darker is not because it's a different color, is because there are two lines one on top of each other.
Right. And I'll
But let's
tell you,
actually go and
by the way, just to react, I'm a little surprised at there's actually one more node in here than I thought. I did not expect to see the string. Is this a header node? It's a la header node. This is a la header node. Oh, this is a root la header node.
yes.
And then there's two connections here. Okay, that's actually different than what I thought, but it's correct, obviously. Okay, so by the way, that's pretty cool. Just to pause, I think that's pretty cool to see a visualization as a genuine debugging tool. That's nice. Okay, so why?
Now let's see. Let's now we have a hypothesis again. Now we want to actually see, do we have two arrows there or just one, two edges there? Because we don't know at the moment.
We don't know.
Right. So how would we know? How could we know? Could we know whether there are two or just one element there?
Connections. Wait. Wait, it's a Mondrian. Hang on. Connections.
Well, can you say out loud what would you expect to do? So
Yeah, I would.
Right now, connections. What is connections? Is it a visual entity or is it a model entity?
It's literally a group of edges. It's a dictionary from start to end.
Right, but these edges how are they represented? Are they like visual objects that we looked at there?
Yes.
Sure. So let's take a look. Can you take us? I see here an order collection.
Yeah.
Right. With 3 items. Maybe let's take a look at items to see what's in there.
Yeah, perfect.
And there I see, can we double check? Can we look at one of those? Because this one sort of looks like nice, right? So what is this one? What object is this one? How do I read what I see here?
So this is a dictionary that maps from a header node.
It's not a dictionary because it's written here on top.
An association.
An association, right?
Yeah.
So which has a key and a value.
Yep.
So and this has nothing to do with the visual thing. The visual thing gets added afterwards. Like we are interpreting that this means that, right? That's why we built. So let's go back to the visual things, because now we were saying we are not sure whether we are seeing two or how many edges are there, like how many lines are drawn there.
There are 3 lines for sure.
Let's actually take, well, no, we see 3 connection objects, but we still, like visually, you were like when you executed your Mondrian thing over here at the bottom.
Yeah. How do I bring that back?
Command G, I guess.
Do I need to
run it?
I might have lost it. Okay. Yep.
Okay. So now we say, well, what about if I think my hypothesis is that there are actually 3 lines. There are 4 nodes, 2 black ones, 2 red ones, and 3 gray lines. This is my hypothesis.
Yep.
How would we investigate this? Is this hypothesis any right or not?
Okay, I just double clicked on this edge, but
right, but we don't know whether there are multiple there or not. So where could we see it? Would you have any idea?
You're trying to lead me someplace, and I'm not sure where.
It's okay. That's okay. So remember, we are looking at a visual object. The visual object lives in the one rendering tree.
Yep.
Which means that we should be able to
investigate. Okay. Right. Okay. Hang on.
So you now have to go and recreate it.
Okay. The magic keyboard. What is it? It's I saw you and Eric use
Control, Option, Shift, click.
And Option Shift. Oh, that's cool.
Okay. So what do we see there?
Yeah.
would.
Okay. There are 3 lines. There you go.
Interesting. So if you want, you can also just double click on that because then you can see it on the right hand side. Yeah, make this one smaller here.
Okay.
So you can see that there are 3 lines, right? So
Yep.
the lines do appear there,
Yep.
but they are now, they just go to the same thing.
Yeah. So I think what you're trying to tell me is there's a one-to-one mapping between what's being rendered, which maps one-to-one with the data structure, which is pretty unexpected and cool. And you can actually pick them out in the inspector. That's wild.
Right. So we can now get back because now we have validated our assumption. We can come back out of the this mode.
Okay. All right.
We are back on this. Great, which means that the issue they don't seem to be the connections. They don't seem to be the issue. Probably, maybe. Could there be still issues with the connections though?
I mean, my hypothesis is that whenever my hypothesis is that whenever you have a duplicate key, it's going to cause this problem. And so what I would love to do is just add a random, I would be perfectly happy adding a random token, something to the end of each one to disambiguate it. I'd be happy with that solution.
Yeah, but we still don't know what the problem is. It could be that the problem is on the visualization level. It could be that the problem is still on the data model level. We don't know, right? We still have to validate
then
that.
I guess my proposal would be, I want to know if these are the same. In other words,
how would
is
we
this...
quickly check that? Yeah,
I
how
don't
could
know.
we quickly check that?
It's like if
Okay,
it were, I would be
let's-
looking for like a GUID or something. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So this could be like some GUID or whatever. Those
Or an
kinds
equality
of things are interesting,
operator.
right?
Yeah.
Right. But can we just do something? Can you click here on value?
Yeah.
Right there. No, in the raw, click on the value node.
Nice.
So it points me to
Oh.
this.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's very cool. Okay. Sorry. Now I'm dying of curiosity. Wait, sorry. Raw value.
And
It's different.
no, it's not different. You're just looking. We don't know yet if it's different.
Yeah, okay,
You're looking
right.
at the other view.
Uh,
Which view was the one that made you
I
excited?
can't remember. This one. Oh my gosh. Wait, it is different. Okay.
So the model seems correct.
That's pretty cool. And by the way, I want to just reflect on something. In the last call that we did without you, Eric, kind of like a question I was grappling with is like, I love this term, is the juice worth the squeeze, right? It's like, okay, Mondrian is super cool, but it's like, there's D3, there's Vega Lite, right? It's like, what's like, what parts, like, okay, is this, what's actually different? Okay, I think this is different, right? Being able to actually see kind of an inspection. This seems to me very different.
That's because it is different.
Yeah, it is different. That's right. So there are some things
but the picture is not the end.
Yep.
The picture is just but now if you look at what actually Mondrian is just a few hundred lines of code, a couple of hundred lines of code, because it's not a visualization engine. It's just a little builder. Block the graphical stack is already the visualization engine.
Yep. Right. It's very
so
akin to
Mondrian is just a little thing that just maps onto this. So there's no.
But I would say the reason I'm bringing this up is so I think the glimmer of an insight was the point isn't having D3. The point is actually being able to use it kind of in the inspection of, in the understanding of. And I think this is another example where, man, by the time you pump something into D3 or Graphiz or Vega Lite, you've probably lost this.
And notice how you have like 5, click on the third pane. Like you have 5 breadcrumbs at the top. Right, and the second pane. Right, and so some are here, right? Oh, with the, yeah, okay, you're now lefty. But basically you had a Mondrian in the middle, and then we continue the conversation on top of it afterwards. That's the thing, because this is a with normal typical visualizations, those always appear at the end of it, and that's it. This is where the conversation stops. But they shouldn't be. We should just be a medium, which is continuous.
So my fix was actually would not have worked. Well,
no.
Okay, so wait a minute, hang on.
But let's actually do something else. Let's stay here a bit. And
I'm sorry, it's not that would have worked. It would be unnecessary. the issue is a visualization issue, not a. The data is correct.
Like
the visualization is wrong.
Not useful.
Yep. Okay. So
yeah.
How do I fix this?
Yes. Right?
Help me.
So but it's still the way you have. I don't know. Let's actually we need to look at the Mondrian code. Like that visualization that you have in there, we haven't looked at it yet. Here you see self Mondrian, right? Which means on the meta one, it's probably easier if you open the meta. No, this is Mondrian, so that's a generic engine. It's I'm not sure the problem will be foundable here.
Yep.
But if we look at the meta side of your, so we need to go and look at the code.
The code that you wrote.
Self Mondrian, the code that you wrote, yeah, your Mondrian method. Right, so let's see, what do we have here? We have self headers, and then we have the text nodes. And then we have connect associations, and then we have self connections. So this is an interesting case. It's a very interesting case. It's one of these problems which are due to, my bet is that if we take your text nodes and then we say here in the visitor, if we say here text nodes first and say equals text node second, I think the answer will be true.
Okay, I'm sorry. Could you point text nodes?
So you see here, you have here nodes with headers.
Yep.
Those appear distinct. So you have 2 different ones, but then you have text nodes here. Right?
Yeah.
So, and then you're saying, I want edges based on these things. And my suspicion is that in the Mondrian engine, it's trying to look up the from and the to nodes based on equality, not identity. So to test this hypothesis, we could just say here text here in this one, because self text nodes is a collection of 2 nodes. If you say here self text nodes, right? So come on, if you inspect that, and then go back in the items. If you look at the items here. Okay, so we have those 2, right? It's just a collection with 2. So now I would like to see, is it true that if I say self-text nodes first, and then maybe I'm gonna check identity, which is equal here. Self-text nodes second. So the first one in text nodes. And then we can say if it's the same self text nodes second. Let's see. So I would expect this one to be false, obviously, because those that we saw before, they point visually to two different objects, right? Two different paragraphs. Now let's do just one equality. So this is identity, right? And then equality, this is
Yeah.
equality, and that's the problem. So the problem that we're having here is that, and then Mondrian tries to match things based on equality and not based on identity.
Funny, Eric, it's interesting that, is it true that closure sidesteps a lot of this? Or is that a misunderstanding of identity and
It's
equality?
true. Yeah, because values don't have an identity. I mean, apart from themselves.
Right. Okay. I haven't had to think about anything like this in a long time. Okay. So,
So like this
okay.
is objects versus objects that happen to have the same fields.
No.
Value or
No?
something. Okay.
Yeah, no, but equality is a logical operation that
Totally.
that you might want to. And
Yeah.
I suspect that and you can have this one in closure as well. I mean, you can have an operator that will compare two things and say they're equal. You don't have to rely on it. It's just that it happens that this engine here relies on equality.
For sure. No, it said without
Apparently.
judgment or anything. I'm just
No,
confirming my
I'm just saying it's
understanding.
not.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So
But-
how do where? Okay.
So one option, a cheap option would be to actually make these text nodes really be different. Like make sure they have some
Ordinal sequence value, random number.
yeah, something like, yeah, this could be an
Uh,
option, though is not nice. It's kind of ugly, but
I am happy to have ugly.
You're happy with ugly.
Yeah, for now. Sorry. Learn how to get these things again. Comma.
Comma, yes, just a comma.
And then what is a whoops? Like a random number.
But no, random number is not useful because you'll have to have the same random number in the nodes and in the edges, right?
Oh,
in the
shoot.
connections. So that won't work. So you need a more of a unique identifier, or we say, what does connections do here? Connect. Connect associations. Value. And so I'm looking now at how the logic that happens
Nice.
in Mondrian when you're doing connect associations. You should dive into it a couple of times. You can see the the logic that happens there. Node at if absent. This is interesting.
Just to brainstorm. So maybe it's one pass to through the AST to kind of relabel.
Yeah, we could have an ID that happens there, but self-root graph node at put. Yeah, self-constraints graph. Very quick. I'm gonna find it quickly. Or not. No. Oh boy. Right. Yeah, it does do it. It does do. It looks for equality, not identity. And
So I think I can I can
So-
what I'll do is I'll make a rewrite AST or pass one AST and then
well, the simplest thing could be if a node would be able to say, here's my unique position within the AST, for example, we could just concatenate that one next to anytime we say, so you can say here self-text nodes, and we would collect self together with with the ID.
right. Yeah.
And then in the connections, we would do the same.
So
we would put another,
nice.
but
Okay,
for
great.
this, and the node would need to know its position, for example.
Yeah. So I'm thinking a new message called text node name or text node name,
This
right? And then
can be something like this.
great. Okay. In fact, let me just write that down. And I think I might want to do that while Eric is going. Okay, solution. Okay. Okay, can I show you the other error I'm getting? And I would just love
Yes.
to know how to okay, so the rendering issue aside. And I'm also going to write an example. AST, create the visitor.
So
yeah.
The other thing to notice here, right, is that if you think about the typical TDD flow, right, it says write an assertion first.
Yeah.
But here we had no clue what the assertion was, and in fact, the assertion was in the completely different place than where we thought it would be, right? So if you would have put actually, if you would have used the correct AST, then connections equals 3 would have been actually the correct assertion.
Yeah.
That's exactly how many connections you have.
Yeah.
You have 3 connections.
Yeah.
So there was nothing wrong at that level.
Yep.
Right. So it was not the testing that helped us figure it out.
Yep.
It was the exploration.
Yeah.
That helped us understand where the mismatch comes from.
Cool.
And it's interesting here, right? Because here you had the bug in the debugging tool. This is so right. So when you're building custom tools, you can always turn out to have bugs in the custom tool.
Oh yeah. Right. right.
And this one throws you, right? This one can throw you off scene, but this is why it's so important to actually go and investigate the tool, because this option always exists. So.
Awesome.
Okay, so
cool. I'm looking forward to this. Yes. Okay. So my understanding of what's happening here is you can sort of see in these things is that there's something about element 320 at connection 320. It causes it to blow up, but I don't.
I don't want to ask how you got to 320.
I bisected.
So you did the quick sort.
Yeah, exactly. I was so desperate. I couldn't wait a day to ping you. I was just like, I'm gonna find what index is it. And I even tried to delete element 319. Anyway, so what is a better way?
Look at. I don't know what a node here is. I see that this is nil. I don't even know where it comes from. So we probably have to go down in that stack because we don't see anything here.
Yeah.
But it's also just a second. Okay, so we're in the measures. Like this is one of those cases where when you have side effects, then sometimes the execution happens. So the problem is no longer you don't see it in the stack. So when you get debugging, you no longer see the problem because the problem is probably somewhere else, right? So for example, you saw the problem when you were displaying the Mondrian object, but the Mondrian object was already created.
Yes.
And it was created on a different execution branch. So you were like first like here, and then you created it, and now you want to execute it, or the other way around, and to execute it. But the creation is the problem, not the execution.
Right.
But now you're seeing the execution, it would have been interesting to understand at least what kind of attribute there is there,
Totally.
with which node. So I would still look into the state to see about where the problem comes from.
Yeah. So I do
would
have
still
this
look at the
thing.
debugger. I would still look at that debugger.
Coming back up. And then, by the way, just to Eric, I'm kind of building up a task list. My goal is to fix all these problems. By the time you're done, I will have mine. I'll have mine working, and I should.
That's cool. I don't know where I'm going with mine. I'm just messing with layout right now.
Which, by the way, was handy for me to have observed last time. All right. Well, so where do I go?
So, right. So let's go one below. I can see that I'm in the layout. You see, I see their compute position. But here node is nil, right? Can you click on that? Yeah, you have to click on this one here is provided, the variables on the right are provided by whatever has focus on the left. So if you want to see which variables are active here, you have to give it focus. Right, so now you have self is the graph tree layout, but it looks like it tries to say compute this node, and the node is, oh, now it's no longer empty. But a node is a strange thing. It's something else. So can we investigate what that a node is? So yeah, that one is some node with edges. So this is actually not so bad. So this is not the problem. So let's actually go here in the stack to see where the problem comes from.
Go down.
Yeah, well, we have to see where the call is. Okay, there's the call. The call. No, the call here. Here, right? You see, okay, layer of, and then we see node A. I don't know what node A is because that's something to do with this layout. So my suggestion would be, let's use another layout. Let's use just a tree layout, or just don't use a layout at all. Let's try that experiment.
Okay, I can close this now.
Yeah. Go to the Mondrian thing here.
Yeah, stand by.
And just don't do the layout.
And is there a way that I can
that you can?
Would it make life any simpler if I shorten this? So instead of reading the whole thing,
yeah,
I'll cut off.
But
yeah,
right. But the problem was that you had something here, and we don't know exactly what that magic thing is.
Yeah.
So you probably wanted to get, but you do get the first. No, you don't get the first 320. So maybe just doing that exercise. This is funny.
Stream a string.
But you wouldn't, it's not the parsing that's the problem, right? It's the amount of nodes that is the problem.
Right. I just want to cut the number of input lines.
I can guide you if you want.
Yeah, so used to doing this myself. Oh, okay, what's this?
That's your visualization.
Yeah, right. With no layout.
So there is a grid layout, but the grid layout has just some 5. That's the default.
Yeah.
Layout. So it's not useful. but it shows that the problem is where?
Radial layout, radial tree layout.
Yeah, so maybe there's an issue in that layout.
Right.
So let's try, you could try maybe
Tree.
the tree layout, yes.
Okay.
But this will still take a while to render, just because this is just a large graph that you have here. How
Yep.
many nodes are there?
It's 60,000 words. Yeah.
No, not words. How many nodes?
How many nodes? Good to know.
Yeah, you could look here, but you could just ask your visitor to see how many. Just inspect your V.
Yeah, how do I get my V? You know, by the way, I don't know this. How do I? Oh, I have to create another.
How do you what?
Ah,
Yeah. Right. And then if you look at the raw,
yeah. 2,600
have-
nodes.
yeah, so that's the issue. I mean, the issue is not an issue per se. It's just that we can make it a little faster, but it's the size that it's a little bit larger than.
Right. So I'm gonna go find the and it's take the string and take the first number of lines. And unless if this is how I program.
Can you just do the first 1,000 characters before you parse it instead of lines?
Sure. How do I get the first
Isn't
5
it
characters of a string?
Isn't it easier if you just take can you inspect the string? Can we just try this just for the sake of it? So you tried the Stack Overflow way, right? Okay, let's inspect any string. Just select any string, doesn't matter. Right, and okay, and now go to meta. Actually, let's browse this one in another pane. Yeah, okay, so you have byte string there, right? Okay, now search. Can you say first? Because that's what you were looking for. Okay, that's not the one. Let's go.
I used it
Messages.
for,
First column. Can you see column?
first and a number. Oh, there we go. I'm lost. One sec. Is this where I was? I guess so. So that we can do on a string. As string first 5,000 characters. Nice, Eric.
How many, can you check now the V to see? Yeah, it didn't understand something. Can you see how many nodes there are in the raw?
88.
We have 38, 37. I think it's easy. Okay, now you were looking at Mondrian and you got the debugger and you got scared. The debugger.
Oh no, that wasn't fear. that was me.
No, don't close because it tells us what the problem is.
Right.
It's right there in front of us.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a small cat T. It says that I do not understand.
Yeah.
The message called tree.
No, don't close it. Don't close it. Don't close it. Just hit the arrow. Just not that one. That up at the top. Not that one.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Theoretically, it should work. There you are.
Oh man, that's like effing cool. Right. Although I'm not.
That's why I couldn't lay it out. It's just thousands of nodes. And look at just 88. It had the same problem being so small.
Okay, this is great. What I'm going to do, is I want to see if I can get I'm going to fix my issue with how to handle duplicate values. I'm going to see if I can get this thing rendering with a regular tree. I'm a little bit, I might be a little suspicious of this. And I'm kind of noticing all these orphaned nodes here.
And there, you probably, the problem looks very oddly similar to the one that you had.
Right. No question. This is the orphaned. Those are being orphaned.
Right.
I'm a little bit surprised at the. Maybe that's right. By the way, can I zoom in here? Is that?
Yeah, there are some buttons at the top.
Yeah, interesting.
And then you can drag.
Right. Right.
Click and drag.
Right.
I mean, yeah. Oh yeah, you have this.
So, I'm wondering if. Oh, right. My red dots are the text nodes. The square black ones are the header nodes.
Yeah.
This is useful. This is actually, I think, Eric, my plan is to turn this over to you in about 10 minutes, within 10 minutes, if not less.
Take your time. It's okay.
But also the text nodes might not be so interesting because I think you're doing it at much too small a granularity.
Yeah.
And maybe you want to look at paragraphs rather than just individual words.
Right, because each token is turning into a text node.
Yeah, click on it and see where it gets to, right?
Yeah.
So it's just this word.
Yeah.
It's just a single word.
Is there a
so
paragraph?
The granularity is not particularly useful. It's not useful.
Right. I thought there was a.
If there is a paragraph in the tree,
Yeah.
look up. You have to look up the tree to see if there's anything that we can see there. Maybe there isn't.
The text nodes is you got text nodes, string, headers.
Yeah, but we should look into the tree at the output that the parser provided us, because that's where the answer is.
Yeah.
How does the tree look like? Of
Okay.
the parser, your actual parser in your visualization.
Right, Roger.
So if you go back to your other.
Yes, I'm a little lost.
So can we step back a bit?
Yes.
And see what the question is?
I want to see the exact output of the parser and see if there's
and
something
what
that
were you
aggregates.
looking at? Right. And before you switched to coder, what were you looking at?
I was looking at essentially the enumeration of all the node types.
Now you were actually looking at the output of the parser.
I was.
That was the tree. That was the exploration that you had there.
Wait, hang on. I clicked here. No, I'm
before this.
Yeah.
If you go back to your visualization.
Yeah.
Which is probably towards the right, I guess, or. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you click on one of those nodes, then you get a text node, right?
Yeah.
This is one node in the syntax tree of the parser. And if you look in the explore view, it shows you that node within the context of the whole parser.
Yep.
So this normally, I think.
Yep.
Actually, let's see if this is so. I'm not sure if this is so, but otherwise we can just do a let parser parse whatever you want to parse, right? So
Yeah.
you can go and inspect your AST example and see, do we find paragraphs there or not?
Right.
In your
I mean, I think
your
I-
AST example,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
on the left-hand side,
Oh.
or
Okay. Yeah. How do I do that? In fact, okay, that is a question I have. So wait.
you need the examples class. Yeah, that one. Mhm. So if you now click on one of the,
Yeah.
So,
I was looking at
it says there is none.
yeah.
You only have text nodes.
So maybe I change. Okay. So the reason why I was looking inside the class was to see if there's something called a paragraph class. And I remember looking for that before and couldn't find it. So maybe, maybe I need to put a little state into the text node and aggregate them at the kind of group them by paragraphs.
There's right, or maybe what I would do is I would actually look at so if you go to in the explore view,
Mhm.
which is the same view, I would and you click here because we need to see. Yeah, I would click really here. What
Here.
this 1, 2, 3 is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it that the one? Huh. Interesting. Can you click on 5 just to see what this
Yeah.
is? No, just on the.
It's not what I was expecting it to
does it not-
highlight something in the left.
Yeah, okay, it does, but I don't know why it doesn't appear here. But can you check if you can click on just 5, not the text, right?
Click on 5, not the text. Click
Yeah,
on
I mean the
5.
line with 5.
Align with.
So we don't see it because that's the empty line. And the 4, I suspect that 5 is just an empty line. So if we look in the raw of 5,
The raw of 5.
then we're gonna see here that it's actually just from 32, position 32 to position 32.
So
And
that's a
if
blank
I
line.
look at, yeah, that's one of the empty lines. So that's maybe that's what we could do. We could, like in your visitor, you could go
Yeah.
until I find an empty line,
Right.
and I would group, maybe create a separate thing because the
Perfect.
parser doesn't give us this information.
Okay.
But of course we should. So we've just learned that we probably should extend the parser.
Hey, so
For the next session.
Yeah. Right. Oh, so before we before I turn it over to Eric, so the big question I put in my tweet, and that I think I got some illumination on it in the session without you, Eric, was like, all right, GT has, Pharo has Mondrian, right? JavaScript has D3, all this other stuff, right? And given all the idiosyncrasies, I also wrote, watching you kind of learn about block and so forth, right? It's like, man, every UI framework is going to have its own, by definition, crazy deep idiosyncrasies, right? That are unique and so forth, right? So, you know, the question I was discussing with Tudor was, oh, and plus you get thousands, 100 to 1,000 times more investment in terms of things like Vega Lite. So like where is the leverage going to come from? And I think we kind of touched on that, Eric, is that there's some sort of genuinely shocking ways to sort of see what your code is doing that you can't do, say, in a typical Clojure environment, right? I mean, being able to sort of see the issue with the rendering of the data. The visualization not at the end. It's actually in the, you can do it in the middle. It's
Yeah, what do you mean by that? That like the visualization isn't the end.
So if I click, can you just click on a red dot in your visualization on the So here is an example, right? Where I just created a visualization custom made. And then I just continue browsing as if as if I already had this browser as a feature.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, so like
But
normally I
the
would
only
think of,
thing I've done, I've just concatenated two views next to each other, and boom, I've got very cheap, right? They don't know of
Yeah.
each other,
Yeah.
and yet they still work remarkably well.
Right.
yeah. So I mean, just
And that,
put a different way.
go ahead.
Oh, yeah. It's like I've been using Vega Lite for a couple of years. Like that's you just generate all these data structures and you shove a big JSON blob into give it to
into a call to a JavaScript function or something.
right, and you get these beautiful graphs, but you can't really go from one of those and go back into your data structure or into your code.
Right.
I mean, that's different and novel. So there are some things
so that's the whole idea of multiple development.
Yep.
That the question is, so this visualization in this case is about your data structure, but we apply this one to all sorts of problems, not this chart, other charts or views, right? Because it doesn't matter whether this is graphical or not graphical, or
Sure.
it's just a table. Sometimes all of these views, they just summarize something. But after I summarize something, I continue the conversation. It's never the end. There's no end anywhere in this one. Why is this important? Because every time, like whatever is the conclusion of one person is the start of the investigation for the next one. And there's no ending in the way we should have conversations about our systems, but also about our data. But the key, our focus is on rethinking how we reason about our systems. That's the first focus. There are all sorts of interesting side effects, yes, and we can get carried away with those, but that's our mission. Like our mission is, how do we fundamentally provide a new feedback loop that otherwise doesn't exist? And then what happens once you have that feedback loop?
Yeah.
And you're just starting, like you're not yet utilizing in these exercises that we've done, we're not yet utilizing this way of thinking. Now here we started to touch a little bit on it.
Yeah, right. And to be very concrete, and for me, the payoff is like, oh wait, this tree does not look like the way I think it should. Right? It's like there's too many freaking tokens, right? And being able to to actually click into it and actually confirm that that seems high leverage. And maybe just to kind of conclude on it, it's like, given that every kind of UI is so idiosyncratic, right? Okay, like that's an investment you have to make. Given that like the tools on the JavaScript side are potentially more advanced, right? Okay, where's the utility in working this way? And I think I'm just starting to touch on it.
But
right?
At the same time, you say that something like Vega, which I have used, I have the same problem with Vega where it's like, oh, but it doesn't do this one thing I need. Like, thanks for getting me so far so fast. But then I want to change it a little. And now it's like a lifetime of twiddling and figuring out how to make that change.
Right.
If it doesn't already support it.
Right.
Often at the end of the day, I do want to go back down a level and have the better tools at the bottom.
Right.
that the thing is built out of, instead of, or maybe it's not built out, or maybe it's just a bunch of if statements, and then now you're lost because you'd have to start over from whatever Vega starts with, SVG.
Right. Or something.
Yeah.
So okay, so here's my plan. I'm going
just to say, so Vega is a beautiful piece of work. That's so just put this one aside. But yes. No.
And so Vega is Vega is not what monitoring is. Monitoring is more like GraphViz or something.
Sure, right.
I think that was the what you had said, Tudor, right?
Yeah,
it's more like D3.
It's beautiful. It's that, except that it's declarative.
Declarative. Yeah. Yeah.
right? And that's the beautiful thing of it. You can just take it anywhere and then put it in different engines.
Well,
and-
like
so-
GraphViz is a good example. Like I've written stuff that spits out the text representation of GraphViz and then calls GraphViz on it to give me a PNG, right? And that's great, except I would much rather have the finer grain control to be able to, like, whatever data structures GraphViz is using internally to actually make those and manipulate those instead of going through this text interface. I would rather have that intermediate representation that it uses internally.
And the answer is not doing it in JavaScript. Yeah, but we're all saying the same thing.
Well, yeah.
Cool. So here's my my one hope is by reducing the node count, I'm hoping that the radial tree will eventually work. But
Yeah.
this is pretty
but
useful.
you
So
can- yeah. Mhm.
so Eric, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Sure.
And, I'm going to my goal is to dazzle all of you, like really wow you. It's like, my God, Gene, I can't believe you did that.
Nice. So can I share?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta wait for you to.
Not to set myself up for total failure here, but try.
So I'm
Hey,
gonna.
by the way,
try to
Tudor,
share
thank you.
this.
And by the way, thanks for bearing with me.
Can you see
No
it?
problem. Yeah.
Okay. So I am very not far from where we left off. I was a little stuck. I can show you how I diagnosed the problem. Okay. So notice there's no line here anymore. There
Yeah.
used to be a line. And I am putting that line in. See, I started doing a lot more layout stuff. I've got like horizontal frame, doing some aligned
Oh.
center.
I'm sorry. Can I could I get like another 5 minutes because I want to upgrade my
Oh, yeah, sure.
But why don't you? Yeah, okay. Mhm. You first should commit.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, cool. Sorry. I meant to I think we'll all get utility out of this. Okay, so you can see my screen?
Yeah.
It's here, right? I do
Yeah. Mhm.
fresh
Right.
commit. And I bet you push won't work. Okay, so I'll push manually.
Then you'll be in for an interesting surprise when you take.
Oh
the
yeah.
new-
Wait, crap. I can't remember what version I'm on. So, where am I? Stand by.
Well, try. Okay, so now you want to know where is this image?
Yes.
Okay, then please open a playground. Open a playground in the image. Shift enter
So
enter.
Shift enter enter.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what the heck is okay? Yeah.
Well, no, just do the enter because you haven't go inside the playground. Yeah, it's this one here.
Got it.
You want to open it, right? Okay,
Uh-huh.
and now you say a quote dot quote,
Quote dot quote.
and then S file reference. So that, yeah, okay. And now the path,
Yep.
yeah, this is where it is.
I nested these things. Oh my God, that's terrible.
But you're in the 1087, so it's this one, the one you
Yeah,
were having. So
1087,
you
yeah.
were in the right, in your terminal, you were in the right place.
I think
In the terminal.
in
you
here,
were-
1087.
Yeah.
1087. Oh my gosh, what an eye. Okay, so go to
You need Pharo local.
iceberg.
Yeah, real Jim Kim. Right, and then status. well, status first, just to make sure that you're in the right place.
Nice. Okay. I'm ready to quit.
Okay.
Yes.
No, don't quit. Yeah, of course. You can keep this one here if you want, and just open another one.
That's insane.
Yes,
No, I don't want to do that. No.
You can quit.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
No, but you're right. I
Fine.
should quit. Okay, so now I go
You
to
can quit. You
Toolkit.
can quit. You can. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, cool. And then go to shoot. Now download the latest one.
Yeah.
Install
Run your
Metacello. Yep. Okay. Got it. Thank you. Back to you, Eric. Sorry. And I'm going to mute for a second. I think someone's just trying to reach me.
Okay. Right. So I've been experimenting with horizontal and vertical frames. And with horizontal frames, I can center stuff. That's what these are now, right? What I'm having
Almost, right?
trouble with,
One earth ready is not quite centered vertically.
it's centered. So I'll show you how it's built. Let me see. So that is the radius element. Which
And
is
you have a BL inset 30. I got it. You
What?
have a padding at the bottom.
that's the earth masses.
Okay,
That's
that's
the
that
mass
one.
text.
And
Then the radius element is this stuff.
which is
And the radius element has, so the width is 100 is the whole radius of this. It's got the radius text. And this one, that's where I want it, right? It's in the right spot. This one is centered on, no, it's on a line right, right? So the radius, it's one radius big, it's aligned right. And so here's the middle.
If we would investigate the children of the elements, right? So this, if I would look, on there, but also in the children view, you could also do it there.
The children view.
Yeah, because this your what you call here planet data view already is an element, which means that it has a children view. Yeah.
This one.
Yeah. And
I will.
so here I see, okay, it's there. It's probably this one.
What do you?
I guess.
That's
I
the one
guess
that's
you're
not showing
interested.
up. And I'll show you where
Right.
it is.
Yeah, but let's take a look at why, because I still don't understand exactly how your RADI is happening.
So the
organized.
radius is from the center to here. I'm talking, Isabella. What is it? Excuse me.
No problem.
That's the difference. He's over there.
She's over there.
We can see her
No, you can hear her.
in a non-voice.
All right. So the radius is half of the circle, right? And so I've done an align right on it.
Oh, but how you, because you already, it has a specific hard-coded amount. Okay, got it. Has a width, right? And you're done a
has a-
line
yeah.
right, and then you're centered it inside of it.
I've centered it vertically and I've aligned right it there. And then this text is centered horizontally, right?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And I've got it a flow vertical element on it, which I'll show you.
Mhm.
It's just this. I just got tired of writing that.
A flow layout. Why flow?
Because I
Oh,
wanted to
okay.
flow one after another. That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
that's a linear layout.
Not a flow layout. Okay.
Yeah, but but in this case, it's the same. But
Is it? Because it's not working.
Yeah.
It's not doing what I want.
so, try. Yeah, you want so when you want things one below the other, that's a
Yeah.
linear layout, vertical.
Okay. So I didn't find that in the examples. I saw the flow layout put stuff next to each other horizontally. So I figured, well, I'll do a vertical one and it should put stuff next to each
So the
other.
flow layout, the whole idea of a flow layout is that it flows. So when it's basically you use it to
Oh.
wrap text. For
So then
example,
what's the
right?
difference
So
between flow vertical and flow horizontal? Stop.
the question is, so a text is going to be flow horizontal, so it goes horizontally until it can't, and then it moves to the next available space on the left hand side. And then if you would be writing some top to bottom languages, then you would be using a vertical flow so that you put them things one below the other.
Okay. So you say a linear layout.
Yeah, linear layout should work here.
Because
but now,
that explains what it's doing. You see, there's this
Yeah.
thing. The line is there. Right. Okay.
Mhm.
So see, that would have solved it really quick if I had known there was a thing called a linear layout. And then can you do new vertical? No, vertical doesn't
You know,
work
it's just without the new.
without the new. Okay. Okay. So now I should be able to go down here. It looks the same.
Mhm. So we still have to understand what happens here.
Yeah. So where is it now? So this is the text element. This is the, okay, it's down
There
there.
it is. But it's probably
Too far
out of
south,
s-
too far down.
But wait, what is it? Okay,
What? Sorry.
I
wanna
would still go back. Yeah, so I do not understand. Can you hover over this element here first? Okay, so that's that one, and in there you have the
That's my flow vertical. I
right,
mean,
and
it's
then
called flow vertical. It should be linear. Then I have a text element. I have the line. And I don't know why there's such a big
that
padding.
line.
And then there's there's a text element there too.
Why? We don't know.
Because I wanted the line to be centered. So I wanted an empty text element at the bottom.
Yes, I understand. Yeah, you just need an element of the same size, right? That would be. So the alternative here would be that in here, in your element here, you can use a frame layout, right? A frame layout where this one is here, the label is at the top, and you have a line in the middle.
Okay.
So if you go and look for frame layout examples, we should be able to find one that is somewhat. The one that we looked at yesterday, last time, was probably the kind of thing we look at. Yeah, children example. I think that sounds interesting, I guess. Multi-layout composition, frame layout composition examples, maybe. This one.
Oh, this one.
I don't know. I just red, green, yellow. I think that's the one. So let's take a look at this top one.
The top one.
No, in the examples map, right? So the way you read examples is first you want to know what they do,
Right.
and then you're gonna run the leftmost one just to see what it is.
Is there a way to
Okay.
run it without opening up a window?
Yeah, like there's a pop-up there in that one.
Oh, I
which
see.
actually
Yeah.
those buttons.
Hover.
So, and that's the one, right? Except that here you don't want one, you want the whole thing. If you could make this red thing be from left to right, and it's exactly what you want.
Right. So wait, that's
And
yellow,
then
green, red. Yeah, it's just a box.
That's just a box, right?
But yeah, it's just, yeah, I got it. And then I want to know how the frame layout works though.
yeah. So now you click on it because you want to see larger text and
Yeah.
browse it a bit.
So frame layout, new size, relocate. Okay, but I don't want to relocate it. I want it to fit in the other layout. See, okay. Boom. So we don't want to flow vertical. We want what is container? Okay, just an element. That's, what is that? BL element now. BL element new. Set the width. Do I need to set the height?
Well, you will want to just say, I want a line, right? So you will want to specify the line.
Wait. But I'm doing the frame right now, the container.
If you're doing you already did.
Because I have the line. The line is just this.
So the frame layout doesn't have contents.
No.
So it needs to have, it needs to know the size. Either it's match parent or it's, because it's
right.
It's within the bounds, right?
And so how do I know the size?
So
I just
either
have to
you
try,
say
try different sizes.
we could start like this, but if everything here would be proportional.
Proportional to what?
If the
That's
whole scene would be proportional,
yeah,
like proportional to one another, means that I could stretch it. Then you could do it in relative, like in percentage, right? But here you know, because you've chosen, you know exactly how, you know how large this is.
excuse me again.
Not a problem.
I want to announce that I successfully upgraded.
Great. There's two methods that you were sending on chat. Those are not the same. One is with R and one is without.
Yeah, no, when I renamed it, it duplicated it, which maybe is the intended behavior, but
no. But what do you mean by rename? Did you just overrode?
Yeah, I went to correct the typo.
And that's not a rename. That's creating a new message.
How should I have renamed it?
You can do Command R.
Command
rename.
R. Okay, right to that. Okay, back to you, Eric. I just want to say that I upgraded.
Okay.
With less fear. It worked.
And, yeah.
Cool.
So if you take a look at the Git tool after now, Gene, it's going to be different.
Oh, cool. All right. Can't wait to see it. All right. Thanks. Back to you, Eric. Sorry.
Okay. I'm just going to start with a big thing. I don't know what I want yet. And
so what I was saying is, if here you know exactly how much this is.
Oops.
Everything was in fixed amounts, right?
Yes,
from here to here, you know how much it is. You know how much this one is. So you kind of know already what kind of size you want here. Because you've just, the way you designed everything was kind of based out of,
Sure. All right. I'm just used to being able to just say, oh, just fill the box, until you run out of content.
You can, but not with the frame. So the frame
not
layout,
with the frame. That's what I'm
fill
saying.
the box.
Yeah.
But,
so let's see. Now I need this one.
But we can sorry. With the frame layout, you can say fit the box, fill the box, but you have to give it the box. So if we can say, if we tell this one option here is actually to put everything, make everything here a frame layout,
Yeah.
and just make everything proportional based on that.
And place things, yes, but then you can't center text because
Why
you
shouldn't you
don't.
be able to?
This is the problem we were dealing with last time, is I did have a frame layout, and
But so
when you
here
tried to
could have
center
a
text, it didn't know the size of the text yet. And so you couldn't like
No.
move it over half of the.
no. So if you
No?
do it again, so here we could do something. So we have here an element, right?
Yeah.
And then we can say, here's a one that is a line at the bottom. We have another one here, and then in here we have another one here, one.
Well, that's what I'm doing right now.
Here, and then we could do another one element here. Yeah, but so you can just use, in both of these cases, we can use flow layout. Sorry, a frame layout for at 2 levels.
Uh-huh. So you're saying
So level
this one is a frame.
this one
and-
here, right?
Yeah. And
Okay,
then
and this one will be part of a larger one here,
right.
and this one, that larger one, will have something either like this, or maybe here actually this earth kind of makes sense to make it part of. So we still have here this, the red and the green are in a linear layout, vertical.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And then the green would contain the orange in the frame, would have a frame layout, and the pink here at the bottom would also be part of that frame layout. And
Right.
then inside the orange will have again another frame layout. So this
Got
could
it.
be one way to deal with this problem.
Okay. I'll have to play with that to see what.
But there was another thing that I so now we played with this one because like just as a continuation of your initial explorations. But we found at some point that it kind of was cumbersome to to browse. It wasn't so easy because the model wasn't always so easy. This one used to be called a planet, right? And the planet had some data. You had two levels of objects, and it wasn't refreshing properly.
Right.
It's like
Right.
we couldn't put the
It's
panes.
very
We
frustrating.
couldn't. It was not the properly thing, but we couldn't kind of organize our environment so that it's nicely updating when we
Right.
wanted to. Now, if we think about why that was the case, if you can step back a bit. And the main reason for this is that the start of your program is the element. And it shouldn't be the element. It should be, if you can make it the editor, sorry, not the editor, if you can make it the data model, the concept of the planet.
Okay.
And
Which
have
is
the
what I
planet draw itself. And have the planet draw itself.
Right.
See,
so I
what
had
happens if
that,
you-
and then I refactored it out because it was like, now there's this giant method, and I thought, oh, let's add another class in here. Is that wrong?
No, but can you investigate the planet here?
Yeah.
Can you just inspect the, right? So this is a BL element, and it shouldn't be a BL element. Because the concept of a planet with when I will compute mass and radius and
Right.
have all the, that has nothing to do with visuals. It's the concept of a, and that might draw itself, yes, but the drawing is something that the planet does. And then all of a sudden, I'm never programming in the drawing, I'm programming in the view of, like, the drawing is just a view on top of on the model. And then it's easier to write assertions, it's easier to manipulate and update the views. Simulating a real world environment for work, right? This is co-located work. when everybody wants something from you.
Yeah, of course. As soon as I start talking, that's when she wants
Of
to
course.
be involved. What?
Just say
Yeah, that's Tudor at the bottom.
hi.
At the bottom. And who's that at the top?
Me at the top.
No. Who's
In the
that?
middle, that's Jean.
Dean? I
Yeah.
thought that was Tudor.
No, he's at the bottom.
Oh, what is her name?
This is Isabella.
Isabella.
Hi, Isabella.
That's Zane.
Jean.
Not Tudor.
Yeah.
No, it's not Tudor.
There's
No.
a Tudor and a Jean.
Hi.
The thing is, I can, you know, like anybody can choose.
The black short.
With the black shirt, that's Jean.
No, that's Tudor.
You're funny. You're making jokes. Uh-oh, you're falling. Sorry, what were you saying, Tudor?
I was saying that if you, so I would suggest to start again,
Uh-huh.
but this time from just the model, focusing on the model. And there we would have the radius and the mass and
Mhm,
whatever
mhm,
other
mhm.
forces might be interesting. Force might be even a first class entity. And we would play with this. And then the drawing would be a representation only. And then
And would it be a new class?
you can still have your planet element or data view, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
That can still be its own separated class. It's just that it wouldn't, like, it would just be a view over the planet, right? So it wouldn't have a radius in the element. It would just directly.
Oh
talk
no,
of
but
the
this
planet.
one has a radius because it's how big I want to draw it.
That's not that, you know,
What?
like it's much more interesting to give it a planet.
Well, I do give it
The
a planet. And the radius is just a hard-coded value. I don't know
So
what I
that
said.
it shouldn't be, right? Because the radius should, okay, I see. You mean,
I'm
okay,
not saying
kind of
that's my
more of a
final
size.
version. I'm
Yeah,
just
got
saying.
it, got it.
So
So
like,
then maybe the confusing part for me was that we started with planet as the BL element.
right.
So,
So
'cause we could
so
just make
the
the planet
planet
just be
can
an
be
object.
viewed on its own, right? And this was to be able to show a system of planets, right? Solar system. And then I was like, there's you were talking about making views in one of these sessions. And I was
Right.
like, oh, let me try that because I do want to do that. And that's when I came up with this thing.
Right, but we should make the planet not be an element
Not be an element
and have a view.
and have a view. Yeah, okay. Sure. That
And
makes
we
sense
would
to me.
we would work against this. And this would
Right.
also already give you two directions. So one, how you draw the planet is one, right? But then you also have these other things that you might want to do with them, like simulating the position or simulating time.
She's learning how computers work.
Good.
She's just banging
So I
on
was
the
saying
keys
that-
and the stuff stops working.
So I would expect that the bulk of work would go into simulating time, for example. I'd say because you want to see the
Sure.
solar system and how the planets work. So there's a lot of computation and calculations that would go on that
Yeah.
at that level, and those would not necessarily have anything to do. It wouldn't matter necessarily whether
Right.
or not we see.
No, I agree.
planet
And
already.
that's how I started it. And I mean, that's how I would do it in like a language like Java, is I would start with the model and the view
Yeah.
I would probably never get to.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
But
go ahead. Sorry.
no, go ahead. You say.
Yeah. So you're saying if I go down that road, it's a better road. Like
It's a better
I'll
road.
be able to have live updating views.
And you will be
Like I
most of your
recompile
work.
a method and it shows me a different view.
Most of your work is going to be on the logic, not so much on the UI. Like right now, we're fiddling with the UI. So when
Right.
you're fiddling with that UI, but
But
you want to,
even if the logic is fiddling with the, I mean, even if the most of the work is fiddling with the logic, I'd want it to update. And
exactly. But if you have the inspector open on the object that you're that will change, whose code will change, then then that
but if it
inspector knows
generates
how
a
to change.
BL element, that element is now out there in the inspector.
Yeah, but
And
the
so I won't be
view,
able to.
yeah, but the BL element is not something that this is, that is persistent. It's just something that it just gets created. Like the view, it says, oh, something changed in my planet.
Yeah, but I
So
don't
the view
think
will change, will
I
update.
don't think I understand, because that it just goes against what I've experienced in here. Like if I change the mass of Earth, it doesn't update over here.
Yeah, because if you're looking at another object, if you're changing some object and you're looking at another object, how could the environment
But
know that
even if
those
it's the planet
different
data view, which is like a view on the model instead of the.
No, that's exactly, it's still two objects, right? They're
Okay,
two
that's
different
and so
objects.
that's what I'm saying. And so how do you get it so that it is the same object? That's
You
what I'm
want an
asking. Because
inspector-
Isabella, stop. Oh my goodness. Is this going on YouTube? Is this
It was streamed live, Eric. I'll 146. I'll cut. I am super sympathetic.
Yeah, it clearly can happen.
Yeah, this has been my week.
Hey, Eric, we are so sympathetic.
Happens.
I'll make sure to cut it out.
No worries.
So I think we've been trying to have a conversation and we haven't gone anywhere.
Let's resume. So I was saying this. If when you're modifying, let's say that you're modifying something with radius, right?
Yeah.
And so you would open the planet object, you would inspect a planet object.
Yeah.
Go on the meta view of the planet object, and you would modify the code of the planet class.
Right.
Then a view on that object would know, oh, the code of my class has changed. Hence, I am being the inspector of that object. I should update too. Kind of. Not always.
So it's going to read, it's going to
depends.
generate a new
Sometimes,
BL element
right?
tree.
Or I can just directly, I can go, it would be very easy for me to just re-inspect maybe the planet object if that didn't happen automatically.
Yeah.
And
So
it would generate, the difference is that if I inspect, so take, for example, let's do this experiment. Right now in this one, do Command G.
Command G.
Okay, so now you have this, right? You notice I have a live view over here, right?
Yep.
Okay, now click on this one here. There's this little that one. Click again. All of a sudden, you have something else. So
Right.
what's the difference? And the difference is whatever is written here at the bottom.
It's a static preview.
Because this element already has a parent. The
Right.
first time I inspected the element, it became part of the world. It has a parent.
Right.
If I'm not regenerating the object, when the next time I will try to put it on the live view, I can't because this object already has a parent.
Mm-hmm. I get
So
it.
it's rather difficult to, right. But if I have now, if the planet object is not an element, it has a view that draws an element, then the next time I will be inspecting the planet view, the element will be again redrawn because the view is constructing every time you're going to look at a planet,
Yeah.
at the domain. So that's why it's more
Right.
convenient.
Sure. I still feel like I'm going to have to click a lot. I'm going to type some code, hit save, put my hand on the mouse, find this little button, or because it's not going to be the one I'm editing. I'm going to be editing like this one, and I'm going to have to go down to the bottom to the one that's, you know, that gives me the view I want. It's not live. It's not like, oh, mask 2, boom, and it pops up with the new, data view.
So that thing with live views,
Mhm.
those things are doable. The problem is what happens when the input has, 1 gigabyte of data. Your
Sure.
live, so that's why by default, like here, there's nothing that is live because we're optimizing for the more interesting generic case. What happens when you're modifying the compiler? You really want to know exactly what you're doing. What happens when you're modifying the layout objects of, you really want to know that it doesn't break. Like
Yeah.
you want to be able to be in control of that.
And yeah,
So that's
and
why
I've-
there's no that liveness
Yeah.
of it. It's not the first thing that we're looking at.
Yeah.
I know it's fancy and it's really interesting.
Especially when you're doing a GUI, it's really helpful. Right? Like
not
it's
disagreeing with you.
like it's really nice to be able to just, hit a keystroke or something and just boom, see the changes, because GUI work is fiddly and you need to see it. You want to see it quickly.
I do not disagree. So I do not disagree with that. That's absolutely, it's true. It's just it will probably come, not in the too distant future. But
I wonder if you
that's
couldn't
not
have
the-
like a button
Of
that's
course you
like a
can.
toggle that's
Yeah.
like turn,
Of course you
keep
can. But the question is,
re-rendering.
what do you do with the exceptions? So
You
they're all
don't click the
like they're-
toggle. Because
yeah.
I mean, I think that, certainly in closure, when we want to do that stuff, we're aware that we're in a place that's going to be live reloaded, and we just know. Usually it's in the browser, so you're not doing a whole bunch of 2 gigabyte work, but you kind of know, and you're careful that you're writing code that can be reloaded.
Absolutely. So again, there's nothing that stops us from doing that except for pragmatic reasons, because most of the case is not this one. That's not the default case.
Okay.
So it's something we might add at some point, but it has to be robust enough and it has to be performant enough.
Yeah. Right.
To do it in a reasonable case. So
yeah. I'm just tired of moving my mouse and clicking a lot. And like now I lost where I was. All right. So let's start doing that. Let's get the planet and not
don't make it the subclass superclass of.
Well, it went there. How do you change that? Now I can edit it. Okay. Yes. So now I got to be sure not to run that other stuff. So this
Which other stuff?
The stuff that's going to try to display it as an element. Like what happens if I do this now? See, like background doesn't exist, stuff like that.
Try. I mean, you'll get exceptions, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Self can initialize itself with that. Just gonna get rid of this. And while I'm here, I know that this is wrong too.
I'm not sure what are you clicking on.
What do you mean? What am I clicking on?
Yeah, I think you're saying I'm gonna get rid of it. of something, and I'm not sure what you're
Gonna get
editing
rid of
something.
this. Boom. Doesn't have a background.
I think we're not
You-
seeing the same
Oh,
picture.
oh, I'm in a debugger. Maybe you can't see my
Oh, I
debugger.
see. Yeah, exactly. We don't see the debugger.
I'm
That's
in the
the one.
debugger trying to initialize this thing, and I'm just deleting some. Yeah, I know what happened. I'm sharing the window instead of the,
Yeah.
the desktop.
No problem.
Okay, boom. Another one. Background color. That's right. Okay, I do it. Save. Run. Sorry, it's trying it. There we go. Cascade. Right. So now what I need is the color.
Mhm. You can still add the color to planet, I guess. Could this is imaginable?
Now it's going to be null. So I don't know what happened. It just went away. Did not understand background. I already did that. What happened?
So who does not understand background? Planet, but
Planet
doing
didn't. Right. So now I change it to
Yeah.
planet color. Hit save. Now when I run it, it's there again.
right, but what does it say?
It says instance of planet did not understand background.
Without the colon,
Right.
which means that somebody wants it's a
Sending
Gerda,
the message
right?
background. Yes. Yes.
But and my suspicion is that this happens in your planet data view. I don't see the
It
debugger,
does. It
but
definitely does. I see. I'm looking at it in the code, and now I'm. Oh, you can't see. I
it
forgot.
doesn't matter. But
So
I
what
can
I'm
imagine
doing,
what it
here's
is.
what I'm doing. I've done this twice. So I've removed the text background. So I'm not trying to send background anymore. I changed it to color.
Mhm.
Okay. And then I hit check. Seems to be good.
Right. Is it in a block?
It's in the planet view method.
Can we take a look
Let me
at
see if I
the
can
just to
share
browse
that.
the method?
Hold on.
Just in the method here in the inspector.
Stop sharing, share screen. Share. All right. So can you see this now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Now
So
it's okay.
this was background and I changed it to color. Okay. Which I
Yes.
created with the little wrench, right? Now
But
I
it
hit,
does not.
it doesn't
Yeah,
save
that
it
does-
back to the method.
No, that can crash badly.
Okay. So I need to
because
go
you
here.
passed in your color, you didn't return color, and it's gonna be nil anyway.
It's going to be nil, right?
Well,
Which
because
I
you
was
didn't
hoping to the
initialize it
debugger
as-
would say, oh, it's a nil, and I could put something. Okay. Planet data view.
But your first of all, your color is gonna return. If you look into your color method,
Mhm.
it doesn't return anything.
Uh,
It returns self.
There you go.
Mhm.
You're right. Okay, now I need another method for color. A color. And okay, I don't have my editor's keys. Oh. Okay. Color colon equals a color.
How do you still get that one? Double clicking will make
A magic. Know how to get everything.
It's amazing how you managed to get into all the bugs. We keep
All right.
fixing them, and then you keep finding new ones.
Making it again.
Yes, the gift.
I don't think I have the gift. I just type fast and don't use pop-ups. I don't know. Okay, I want a color blue. All right. Well.
Did it crash? No, it didn't crash.
No, it worked. It worked.
Okay.
I mean, it's ugly, but we'll fix that later.
Okay. Now,
yeah.
now, do you want to work on how it looks? Do you want to do it at home and we focus on something else, or do we want to go and fix how it looks? So with the way it looks, I really think if you would have a vertical.
Let's work on how it looks. Let's work on how it looks. That's all in here.
And in this, if you want to work with how it looks, then you want to, so the way I would organize this would be exactly like here with your exactly this. And then you would just click multiple times on towards the right, because nothing happens on the left here. Everything would be in your planet data view.
This.
Yeah.
Oops.
Put the live view.
Live.
Good. So this would.
This is good. Okay. So a little lost now. This is now a BL frame layout. Aligned right, which is why it's on the right hand side. And then the stuff in there is aligned center, but it's only it's a square.
So
like
this is the radius element. Okay, you want to change, you want to do that one. Okay, good.
And can I do radius times 2? I think that should work.
Why?
That's the height, right? Did I do it wrong?
Yeah, but I don't. I think we should go and look into the example with the frame layout again.
Look at the example with the frame layout.
The same. The second tab you have open there.
This one?
No, the second tab. The main tab.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's actually go and read this, because the container is not, there's nothing interesting happening in any of this. All the interesting thing happens in this single method, this example reverse order. And it's all about the constraints.
Yep.
So let's run the example to see the elements on the right. Wait, can you run it again? Why don't you see the red one?
Did I change the red one somehow? It's there. Adding the child.
Example reverse order.
It's there. It's just, it's there.
Yeah, oh, because it's a reverse order. So we need the other example. On the left. That one. The not reversed order. Yeah, that's one. Yes, this one. Great. So we want, let's see, you want something to do like the red one, right? The red one says like this. Notice how I have a constraints, the C, and then it says frame. So these are constraints specific to the frame layout, which means that it will only be taken into account when the parent will have a frame layout. Then I want to say,
otherwise it crashes your GT.
It doesn't crash your GT, it's just not simply not taken into account. If you have another layout, it will not read it.
Okay. Then, all right.
This would be for your radius. And
What would be for my radius?
so
Sorry.
your red, the radius, like if you want to do something like this, we could try this with your red.
So,
So
I
within the-
feel like I'm doing that. I'm using the radius, but this one, when I make it ×2, it's now all up there. If I made it 1, I don't know why it would be different, but it appears different.
So the thing that now we're doing multiple things at the same time. We're now trying to see, do we want to draw the small box, or do we don't care what's inside the small box and just position the small box?
I'm trying to put the box. Okay, so this is what I'm assuming. This is my hypothesis. That this line here actually is in the center.
Oh, but you can just press Control Shift, Control Option Shift and see if it's in the center. It's not in the
It's
center.
not. It's at the top. Okay.
But if you want to now debug this, then
Yeah.
this is something that has nothing to do with the rest of the scene. We can just take this one out, put it in a new playground, and just work with this one. When we learn enough, we come and then we put it in the larger scene. If that makes sense.
Sure.
Of course, we have the radius text here, which is
Right.
but we can just put right.
And then we don't have a frame above us, right? Do we?
No, yeah, exactly. So it's not interesting.
And I need to make a self. I should make an earth, right? Or not an earth, but planet data view.
You could just directly say planet new radius text or planet data view new. You know, if you really want to, but maybe that's exactly what we'll be playing with. So, because it won't matter whether this is a label or this is just an element, but
Do I have earth in this playground? Oh, it looks
of course
like I
not.
do. No.
No, you don't.
How do I? Where's the one that's
But you
code?
don't have. You just put the label here. We don't need all the baggage that comes with the other one.
Put the label here.
Yeah,
it's
just
not a label.
BL text element new.
Okay.
It's a
Can I
text
show you
element, I
what
guess.
radius text is?
To text element. To expand that.
And
So this one has another, it's just a single.
Yeah.
Right. You have it's good. Then you have the line, and the line can be just a normal BL element new, I guess.
I don't need this one. This one was just
For now.
layout.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Oops.
you're sending.
What happened to my earth? Did I paste it in there? Didn't I paste an earth in there?
No.
New with. Oh, sorry, that's wrong.
But you basically just have to remove everything above it. Just remove the PDV. Okay.
Remove the PDV.
Not
I
interesting.
don't need that.
Right?
Okay.
No, for our experiment here, we don't. Control Shift F would work here. Command Shift F. Yeah.
Command Shift F.
Yeah, you did it. Yeah. So you can just put stuff there and it would all it's formatting, right? You wanted formatting in the playground next time.
Yeah,
There's
sure. No, I
formatting
know.
there.
I use that all the time. All right. So, I want to put a background on
Good.
this so I can see what color it is.
Right. So that's a nice one.
Background color blue. Let's make a light blue. Okay. So I want to wait, and I can't see this one. So
Because
let's
it doesn't have a background by
doesn't
default.
have
So.
oops. Background color black. Okay.
Mhm.
Now I want this one to always be the full width.
So let's go
line.
back to our example and see if we find one like that.
This match parent. So let's copy that. Okay, I'm gonna need a semicolon. And I don't want to match the vertical. I just want to match the horizontal. Okay. And the vertical, the height should just be like 4. Hit G. Yeah. Okay. There we go. All right. Now
You want to say it should be in the middle.
should be in the middle. Do that here. C frame vertical in the center. Nice. And I want this one, the earth radii. It's got to have a constraints do as well. Constraints do C. Or is it frame? Frame horizontal? I don't get the difference between the constraints and the constraint on the frame.
So you have constraints that are generically applicable to all layouts. And then there are constraints that only some layouts understand. For example, a graph layout. In a graph layout, a constraint will be for a line would be from and to.
Okay.
And that constraint doesn't make any sense for a frame layout. And this is why we are basically qualifying those. So every layout, you can define the same element can have constraints for multiple layouts. And if you change the layout of the parent, the corresponding subsets of constraints will be taken into account.
Okay. Now I want that one earth radii to be closer to the line. So I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking. Center it, but put some padding on the bottom.
This could be an option.
Let's try it.
Another option could be, but yeah, this sounds good. Like either you do this or your idea, if I have a vertical now and it would be like this, but yeah, I think I would go with the one you mentioned.
Vertical line center. Let's see what this looks like. Good. And then it's funny how once you get unstuck, you just keep going.
Yeah.
I have a lot of sympathy now. So let's see. Padding. You do inset. Oh,
very good.
At bottom. Let's try 10. No, not enough. 30. Ah, that's nice. Okay, I want to change this down to 2 because it's kind of thick. Okay. So that is actually pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's what you wanted.
That's what I wanted. So now I go back here and I put it in here.
And basically, right, radio text.
No, I have to do. So it's not a self radius. Oops. What's that?
So now what, okay, so we dealt with this box over here, right? It's we're gonna have, and we want this box to be here,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Within a larger other, it's a funny one.
Yeah, I need to make this like green now.
I like that.
Light.
It's like a crying earth.
There we go. And right. So now this one, oh, can I make it all self planet? This is the radius. Self planet radius still works. And yeah, okay. Now, yes, I want to move it over there.
Right.
So this one, I would like where it's being called in, where is it being called? Not here. Radius element. Yeah, here it is. I feel like the editor is getting way better.
Yeah.
Oh my
Because
God.
it
Have
is.
you been hearing me mutter the whole time? I was going to unmute.
No.
And I'm like, I was like,
Were
yeah,
we talking?
I got to, no, I was, I agree. The editor, dramatic improvements. I notice it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I was cursing while I was figuring out my problem here.
So the funny thing, there's an interesting thing where we looked at the performance of Coder, so this tool that you use there, and we improved it with probably, there are a couple of use cases where we improved it with a couple of order of magnitude.
Wow.
I mean, we
By the
just
way, I
took
would
stuff
kill
that
for
was n
Control
squared
K.
to what would
Control
the
K to
Control K
kill the
be?
line.
Yeah.
I
Uh-huh.
would kill to be
Yes.
able to shift click to select. I'm shift
Yeah, I
clicking.
know.
Yeah.
I'd say, I think your temper is too quick. You're too quick to kill people.
All right. I do get frustrated easily. I think it's because I'm so old.
Oh,
I'm so
Just turned
used to like
50.
I've
think-
used the same text editor for so long, and I'm like, what? It doesn't do the 20 things.
I think you're not old enough. That's what I think.
Okay. Just a
Okay,
second.
but now,
I need to help.
so this could be, this is one. How did you do it? Because you don't have a, here's the-
I had a little breakthrough here.
your breakthrough. Oh my God.
And just getting past the keep going, Eric. Sorry.
Oh, Tudor was going to tell me something.
So what's the, you have a frame layout for the parent now.
For the parent of what?
The parent of this, the other method. Yeah, you just put the
Yeah. Frame layout.
Good, because if you have it like this, right now you're specifying this in absolute terms, but you could just as well say 50%. I think.
Say
So if you
say
go back to this example,
yeah.
you want this one to actually occupy 50%. So, right, you're seeing, we don't have that. I think there was one.
No, because all of them are size, fixed size.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I would love to know how to do that though.
Yeah. You're right. But yes, so this is already,
Is that a size thing or is it in the constraints?
no, that's a size thing. But just a second. I'm looking because I forgot. So we have, you can say the weight to the, and the weight is going to be a number between 0 and 1.
Oh,
We'll change the red. The green one would be great to be the
50%.
weighted one. Yeah, so you can just not delete that
How would
one
I do
and
it?
just put C frame horizontal weight.
Here
Just,
instead of 200?
no. So it's another constraint.
A
You can say
constraint.
to
Okay.
to
C
here,
frame
C
or
frame horizontal, for example,
width
weight,
weight 0.5.
for example. Yeah, and you have to put, yeah. And see, now if you're executing.
So what if
Yeah,
I
so
make
probably,
it like 900?
that's so that one is the first one. So I think you have to put the frame weight. I think
Wait.
it is like this.
I'm sorry. There's too much going on. What did you say, Tudor?
Just a second.
C
I'm
frame
looking at
horizontal weight.
it.
What if I got rid of that?
So I'm looking now at GT references and weight GT references. I'm looking for an example in somewhere that has both the weight and the frame layout. So yeah, you have to, okay, this is linear. Oh, that's interesting. Frame horizontal, yeah, exactly. So frame horizontal, that didn't work, right? So you have to like it shouldn't create twice the frame layout horizontal. It should be
Oh,
just the align right is a, no, it's good. You just put
No?
the line bottom and align right to those.
so I need like
Just cascade. Yeah. Align right.
line right, and then
So the way
align.
I've done it, I'm just gonna paste this because
And then I have to get rid of these two.
Yeah,
But
hopefully that works.
it's still
Does it?
aligning, but it's not. The weight isn't working.
Align. Can you put align center? Just
This one align.
but just to say, here's what the query that I wrote, just to find an example that was interesting. I pasted it in our Slack. I would just open another playground.
New playground.
Because-
Okay. Oh, that was fast.
Yeah, so this is one of those things that we changed. So here, the whole thing actually here works. It's a stream.
Wait, that's the one I did.
Yeah, that's the one you did. And let's pick another one. Yeah, this one sounds interesting. Frame layout node layout nodes. Here.
Frame layout node layout node.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah.
HL constraints frame.
Okay, this one is just going to be about the constraints, or inspect this and see what happens.
Inspect what?
The results, because I don't know what
Oh.
it does. I mean, okay, this is just the layout node examples. 0.5 assert. I see. But so this one actually does work. So I don't know exactly what happened there. Huh. Yeah, on the composition, that's yours. Why would it not work? So I'm confused. Me confused.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
not all of these are interesting. But this one was interesting.
I did it. By the way, writing visitor things suck. Just like all the state. Okay, sorry. Just.
Okay, so we don't have an example of this working. I didn't find, it's not, it doesn't do what we want to do.
Well, I feel like this view is fixed. Should we end it here?
Yeah, we can. I'll take a look. But normally wait should work with frame layout, and I'm not sure why it doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, there's one example of it working and one where it doesn't work.
No, actually it doesn't. So
No, it
I don't
doesn't.
know what the
Okay.
problem he has. Normally, so this one actually says that it should work, but I don't know why it doesn't work on your, and I don't see it. So taking a break from it is probably a good idea.
So the next thing I want to do now that I've got unstuck, thank you so much, is do relative. So like how big, here's the sun and then here's the earth, next to it.
Mhm.
That will be my next view.
So one thing is to, so what you could look there is something like a panable or panable element, maybe not a panable, like a scalable element.
Okay.
So you can take an element, put it in a scalable element, and then say what size it should have.
Okay. Scalable element. I'll write that down.
Yeah, you can just do here. If you open here at the bottom, or
Here.
or just here or there, anywhere. Yeah. Okay. So here you can do like a self as scalable element.
Self as. Oh.
Yeah. And this one now will appear zoomed out. Of course, it disappeared from here because the scalable element now contains it. It's stole it.
Got
but
it.
It's now large, right? And then you can make it, size, whatever. So tell to this one size something, and it will.
And it scales everything, the fonts and everything.
Everything.
Cool. Awesome.
So this could be one, but what I think would be interesting to actually work on simulating the time. So because you want to start the planets at some point, you need to give them some ways to rotate, so the function of how they will
Right.
determine their position. And then we want to say, at this moment in time, how will the universe look like? Given a certain initial position, how will this look like at some point? And that becomes, that will be an interesting thing to explore,
Right.
my suspicion.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks so
Okay.
much, Tudor.
Hey, can I show off what I?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thanks for being patient with all the distractions.
Oh, are you kidding me? No, it's
No.
all good. I copied my visit text to visit text old, which actually the duplication function worked great. I did the fact that it didn't rename it, and I created sort of a text accumulator. So all this nested logic is kind of difficult for me to. Took a little while to sort of get this working, and I struggled to actually. Took me a little while to figure out to get the actual text of a node was had to pass 2 messages in, but I did get this much more reasonable looking tree here, with all the things condensed. Anyway, so that was pretty cool. So like I have this little test case here that it's actually pretty great. Yeah.
I think, okay, that's much more interesting, but I still think that in your visitor, can you take a look at it?
Yeah.
In the meta view of the visitor. So I think it's congratulations that you managed. But here, let's investigate. Sorry, let's go into just investigate the address text tree here.
The what?
The AST that you have here on the left.
Yeah.
Investigate it there.
Click here, right?
Yeah.
It's not
And
quite
then of
right.
course we go to the Explorer.
Yeah.
Okay. So and let's click somewhere, anywhere in the middle to see a piece of text.
Yeah.
Okay. And so can you click on this one here, this text that you have?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a SMAC token. And then here you can say, like, I was wondering why you had the case where, can you show me this one? Because you were having an if to say if the parent is a header node. And I wonder why you had, why in the parts, I guess.
Yeah.
You have a text node, right? Okay. So you wanted to distinguish between the case when this one, which is a normal paragraph, and this one, which is inside the header, right?
I vaguely remember that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw it in the visitor.
Yep.
You had this if in there, and I was wondering why you added, but this is interesting that you found this solution.
Yeah. And I think it's still breaking on some tokens. Like this is there's a break here, and I think this must be an empty. I'm not properly detecting this case. What is it?
How did you find the empty line? If we go in, and now we should go and investigate the visitor.
Yeah, actually, this has happened to me a couple times where I just wish I had one more window open. How do I want to go back to my yeah.
To any and my what? Here, right to the right.
Oh. And I want to go to my header visitor, and I just, without reloading it, is that?
No, that's not gonna work. I mean, you can just do or open it in another tab.
Ooh. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, like this.
Hang on.
But yeah, you already have one there, so you can just don't have to paste another one. That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter which. Yeah, maybe that text is too large or what.
Okay, there we go.
So if we go into the meta view, because we should look at that, because I'm curious as to how do you define when. Oh no, you're now looking at the AST, not in the visitor.
Oh, sorry. I've V. There we go. So these should be merged. So there's a token in here where I should be accumulating instead of
Got it. So
emitting.
let's take a look at the map. Yeah. So this is a good case for your. This would be a good case. Now you visualized it.
Yeah.
Now you would transform it into an assertion, because now you know what to assert. Okay, but
I think the problem is here. I'm just kind of hacking away.
yeah, you probably actually want to explicitly look for CR, I guess, or empty. I see it's empty. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Anyway, but it's already.
yeah. So that felt pretty good. And so now I gotta do one more pass to generate unique some things. Anyway, so I don't know. It's progress, and I guess well, I'll just make kind of two observations. One is it sort of angry making to write visitors where you can't really like stop and like kind of write these unit tests for. I mean, what I should be doing is writing unit tests or something, right? So I can actually see it. And the second thing is it is super cool to have all these kind of visualizations of the data. I mean, this was seeing this was awesome, right? Just having that at hand and just being able to see like what the emitted things
Isn't
were.
it crazy, right? Isn't it crazy how, I mean, this is like the simplest possible view. It's just a list of pieces of text. And there's nothing, but if you look at it, it's like, okay, so what is this? But when you're debugging that problem, that's it. And this is exactly the information that you really care about. That's just, it's not measurable.
But it's almost all negated by the fact I'm writing this visitor. Like, that's so I was like, maybe just to really take this to bottom, what I should be doing is writing a unit test for these I should be writing a unit test as like, can I parse this and can I turn that into one paragraph?
Yeah. So here, right, you know, because once you saw, oh, this is a problem, let me reproduce this one, create an assertion for it, because now you know what it is.
Yeah.
But the other thing that you might want to try is to put the self-halt inside your visit method. So once you have a small case that you can reproduce nicely, then you're going to put a self-halt in there, and then you're going to debug like that.
Yeah, that's cool. Because because what I don't want to do is like, I would love to be able to see what is my state, like what is that condition?
That's where the debugger would work or would help.
And Eric, it's like I haven't used a debugger in 10 plus years.
Yeah,
especially
I
in Clojure,
rarely
so.
use one.
Oh, cool. All right, so I look forward to. I didn't get it all done. It's like I was bragging about. I guess I'm excited about seeing. And by the way, when I went back to a radial tree, it did crash. So my goal is to get it all parsed, visualize, get a whatever this layout is working, and then maybe I can Tudor post that for you, and like it'd be great if it weren't in my code.
Right, folks, I really do have to go.
Yeah. Hey, Eric.
Pleasure, as usual. Thank you, Tudor, so much.
Should we pick a time?
Thanks,
maybe in 2 weeks.
Being patient with my temper.
No. Hey, unless if you say otherwise, Eric, how about we shoot for 2 weeks from now for like another call?
Third.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eric. Good luck with the closing up the day.
Yeah. Right. See you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you.
Tudor, I'm gonna stop the recording.